Gordon McQueen, first voice you'll hear is that of Clive Tilsley.
Atletico, of course, were the first team to beat United in 12 European ties since their return last season. The first team to beat United this season. Alex Ferguson's team have already played 6 more games than their opponents. Another reminder of the assault course that we put our top players on every year. But I don't think that fatigue will be a problem, whilst the carrot of a passage into the quarter-finals remains dangling tantalisingly in front of Manchester United. Liverpool, I've shown them the way tonight. Manchester United need 3 more to make it a great Northwest double. But under pressure immediately with Gabriel Moya. Luciano trying his luck from long range. Manchester United need all the vocal support that they can get now as they attack the Stretford end in this second half. Headed by Juanito. No changes to the starting lineups for the start of this second half. Clayton Blackmore with the throw. McClare looking for Giggs. Turned away by Donato. Brian Robson just clipped Moya.
Well, if we could just get the start that United got in the first half, and if you thought Madrid were nervous defensively in the first half, I'd love to see them if United went another goal and went 2-0 in front.
I'd love to see them if we had Gordon McQueen in his prime to throw amongst their central defenders right now. But as Ron Atkinson said, Gary Pallister, half fit, is available on the substitutes bench. Danny Wallace is there too. For now it's Gabriel Moya for Atletico. He's getting further away, if anything. He had the best chance of the first half for Madrid. But Gary Walsh so far untroubled. He has played in the semi-final of this competition here against Legia Warsaw last season, the young goalkeeper. And this is in fact his 40th first-team game for Manchester United tonight, spread over 5 years of injury problems, so he's not inexperienced. Neil Webb looking for Mark Robins. Hasn't really been able to get into the game tonight, but just show him a glimpse of goal. And Robins is the ideal man for the situation. Alex Ferguson said yesterday, if all the chances that we get fall to Mark Robins, I'll be a happy man. Solathabal. Tony. And Atletico, just as they did in the first half, not frightened to commit men to attack on the break. Well, that will never reach Tony. Steve Bruce. Mark Robins. On the free kick. It's almost like an interrogation process. Manchester United have got to turn the thumbscrews and try and force a confession out of their opponents. Bruce with the free kick. Header, a good one by Juanito. Bruce again. Hughes competing for it, didn't make contact. Made contact with Juanito, all right. Well, it's a pretty dramatic reaction, but Mark Hughes' right arm was high. And the referee is looking for his card, and I have a funny feeling it's going to be... Well, it's yellow. The red was in his hand for a moment. It's a yellow card for Mark Hughes. Well, he was looking for leverage. It wasn't an elbow in the face as such.
No, I think the defenders made the most of that. He was obviously fighting and scratching to try and get the ball and putting everything into it. But I think that the defender here is making the most of it.
Juanito is actually, in fairness to him, soldiering on. Apparently he's in need of a knee operation, but it's been postponed until the end of the season. But it's not his knee that's causing him a problem at the moment. He's not quite sure where he is and what day it is.
Although, to be fair to the Spaniards tonight, as we said, there haven't been time wasting, there's been no gamesmanship and no cynical tackling from the Spaniards either.
Vizcaíno out to Moya. Mike Phelan with a challenge. Webb. A little bit outnumbered there. This is Moya. Robson got in the tackle. I wonder how many hundred of those he makes a season. McClare. Bruce. Ryan Giggs just had a sight of the ball in front of him, but Abel was so quickly out to the edge of his penalty area. He's a very alert goalkeeper. As I said at the start of the first half, he isn't the tallest, but he's very mobile and very positive. Hughes trying to be positive. Robson, well, he caught Vizcaíno very, very late then. Brian Robson was shown the yellow card in the first leg of this tie, and so if Manchester United should progress, he will miss the first leg of the quarter-final. But it's a big if at the moment.
Well, there's an awful lot of bodies and defenders about here. Matt Hughes initially makes the run forward, runs into a crowded defence, and Brian Robson comes hurtling in and just catches the Vizcaíno a little bit late there. And maybe a little bit of frustration creeping into the play just now, because obviously the longer the game goes on, the more anxious United will become.
Well, Robson has been forced into action as a substitute in the last two Manchester United games. He's actually played nearly 2 hours of football in those matches at a time when Manchester United would like to have rested him completely. But the timing of his exclusion from the England squad, his retirement from international football, from a motivation point of view, couldn't have come at a better time for Manchester United. He's led them magnificently again tonight. Now Bruce penalised for a very clumsy challenge on Foutre. And United have been unable to get going at the start of this second half. They need goals, and what they're getting at the moment are yellow cards and free kicks given against them. They also need a bit more vocal encouragement. Moya told to get to his feet this time, no free kick. Paul Parker. A rather tense air about Old Trafford in the opening 7.5 minutes of this second half. Manchester United still leading by a goal to nil on the night, scored as early as the 4th minute of the first half by Mark Hughes, but trading 3-1 on aggregate. Brian Robson. Neil Webb. Robson was taken late there by Schuster. In fact, it's Vizcaíno who's in trouble. And there's the third yellow card of the opening 8 minutes of this second half. 2 to United, 1 to Madrid.
Vizcaíno returning the compliment there on Brian. I don't think he can have too many complaints after his last tackle, but Brian just gets up and gets on with it.
Well, the referee has given the throw.
Yeah, the game's just a little bit scrappy just now, and it's important for United to keep their momentum. A little bit of a scrappy start to the second half.
It's a throw that's being hotly contested, to say the least, but the linesman, after some deliberation, has decided that it's Manchester United's. Phelan. Headed by Schuster. This is Vizcaíno, the player who's just been cautioned. Paulo Foutre. He's got support from Moya and from Manolo. Foutre taking on Parker and getting in the cross. Steve Bruce was there just as well. Robson. Webb. Played in towards Ryan Giggs. Abel again has committed himself, and Abel has again got there. And he's got a rap too from Ryan Giggs, and he's in trouble. Yellow card for Ryan Giggs now for the late challenge on Abel, the goalkeeper. He is a very courageous customer, isn't he, Gordon?
Yeah, he's had a very good game tonight indeed, and maybe Ryan Giggs just lifts his boot a little bit higher than he should have done there and collides with the goalkeeper.
Had to go for it.
But unfortunately for United, Abel's looked at, well, as Ron Atkinson said, probably the best goalkeeper in Spain.
He's actually a number 3 behind Zubizarreta and Buyo in the pecking order at the moment, but he is an international. He's 31 years of age now, Appel, so I suppose his international opportunities are limited, but he's something of a folk hero after setting that world record last season. Over 21 hours of football without conceding a goal, and he actually had a street named after him in his hometown in Toledo.
Well, it's just been one stoppage after another, and I'm sure Alex Ferguson is standing there looking anxiously. He wants them to go on with this game.
Minutes of the second half gone. 1-0 Manchester United on the night. 3-1 Atletico on aggregate. Hughes to Robbins. Mike Phelan getting forward. Got away from Tony. Taking on Moya. Moya seen a run across him, and Phelan, in trying to get a foot to the ball, got a foot to Moya. Well, this is what Manchester United can't afford to let happen. They can't afford for the rhythm of the game to be disrupted in this way.
Well, I think Mike Phelan, when he was trying to break forward there, in this section here, trying to break down the right, I think he felt he was obstructed here. Moya lifting his right arm up, but he was a little bit rash there.
Abel has just been beaten on that one occasion, while some of the huge crowd here at Old Trafford were still taking their places. He's held firm since. Vizcaíno. Schuster. Manolo. Schuster suddenly seems to have time. It's a commodity that United can't afford to allow him to have. Thomas in the chase with Blackmore, and Thomas has got there first, and United are undone a little bit here. Thomas the fullback, Walsh got a hand to it, and what a crucial hand it was, and Phelan turned it away. It's another escape for United. Gary Walsh and Mike Phelan, the heroes of that particular hour. And if Walsh hadn't have got that deflection to Thomas's cross, it was heading for a scoring Atletico boot. The referee has just held up play for a moment because the Spaniards want to make a substitution. And it's a fullback for an attacker, albeit an adventurous fullback, Miguel Soler, who will replace Manolo here.
Well, it looks as though the Spaniards are going to just try and tighten things up now, and they don't expect to lose 2 goals, certainly not 3 in the rest of this game.
Soler, who played at left back in the first leg, lost his place tonight, but he's back in the action now. Vizcaíno. Webb. Phelan. Offside given against Hughes, turned away by Juanito anyway, but Atletico have their free kick. And United have been just unable to provide that copybook start to this second period that they had to the first. They not only scored once in that opening period, they could have had 2 or 3.
Well, this was a great run forward by Thomas here, a very dangerous situation indeed. But Gary Walsh spreads his body, right-handed save, Mike Phelan just gets it away.
Foutre it was who was closing in, and I don't think Foutre was going to miss. Manchester United have just missed the beat for the moment in this second half. Here is Foutre. That breeze really is quite strong now, and it's blowing in Manchester United faces. It's really got up in the last hour or so. Here's Tony. Parker's back there. Did he win the ball? Yes. Corner. Well, there's always going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride with United tonight. There were going to be downs as well as ups, but this is the biggest down they've had so far. First quarter of an hour this second half has been an unsettling time for Alex Ferguson, the team, and for the supporters. Schuster. Soler, the substitute. Away from Hughes. Moya going on alone, and Walsh had to make another save. Moya took on 3 there and beat them all, but Gary Walsh was up to the challenge. Now can United draw inspiration from that save? Leclerc asking an awful lot of gigs with that pass. He's quick, but not that quick.
Well, this is another terrific save from Gary Walsh. He certainly hasn't let United down tonight, and it could have been curtains if that one had went in.
An hour gone. Manchester United 1 up on the night, 3-1 down on aggregate. Paulo Futre. Atletico growing in confidence and stature in this match. Futre has only Moya in the middle for the moment, but he's won a corner and there'll be more arriving now.
We just can't seem to get the Spaniards in their half of the pitch under any pressure at all. And give us that goal, it would give us an absolutely grandstand finish.
Futre waits. Schuster will take the corner. It's in towards Donato, and he almost got to it. Brian Robson did. Ryan McClare gets it away, but only as far as Tony. Phelan's attempted clearance hit Tony full in the face. Not too many sympathetic to his cause inside Old Trafford, as Tony lies prostrate on the edge of the penalty area. Ouch. Solafaba with a header.
Yeah, he took a good old whack in the mouth there, but the groundsman will get his teeth for him after the game.
Here's Hughes with some space, couldn't control it. Juanito got it away. Bruce first to it. Vizcaíno. Ben Schuster. Here they come again. Moya. Now Soler. Schuster and Futre waiting in the middle. Moya taking over again. He's outstripped Phelan here. Deflected by Parker. It'll be a corner. These are dangerous, dangerous moments for Manchester United. One goal conceded would surely finish it all.
This is excellent play by Moya. And is it a save from Gary Walsh? No, Paul Parker over for another corner kick for the Spaniards.
Cleverly controlled on the back of Paul Parker. Schuster with the corner. It's in towards Juanito this time. Bruce just did enough. Webb got it away. Ryan Giggs. There's not a pass on for him at the moment. They've just become very disjointed, United. They've lost their way a little bit here. Vizcaíno. And Atletico are starting to stroll, and not even Brian Robson can put them out of their stride.
It's just so difficult when you're chasing the game the way United are just now, and of course this is a very talented side they're playing against.
Mark Robbins is going to come off, and as Ron Atkinson predicted, it's Gary Pallister who will take his place. Now, which end of the field is Pallister going to play?
Well, they could put him at the back and play him, push Steve Bruce up, or just throw him straight into a centre forward role and try and expose them with that weakness they've got in the air in their back four.
It's Pallister, the striker, tonight. He's been soldiering on with a sciatic nerve problem and played in some pain. Managed to get through the last 15 minutes on Saturday. But he's being asked to do something completely different in the Manchester United course tonight, Pallister. Play up front alongside Hughes. Schuster is the free kick specialist, but it looks like he's going to tee one up here for Donato. Oh, and Gary Walsh only just got to it. That must have moved in the air, but he got to it. It's a corner kick. Donato is actually Brazilian born. He's now a naturalised Spaniard.
Well, that was a bit of a Brazilian special. A tremendous swerve in this. Maybe the wind carries it a little bit. Gary Walsh seems to roll up his arms, hit his chin, And away out for, what is it, another corner for Atletico.
It was a good header that by Walsh. Well, if Manchester United do manage to go home happy tonight, they'll look back on this period and wonder how. Schuster in towards Donato with a header, and that wasn't far away either. Another narrow squeak for Manchester United. Gary Walsh having made the save to concede the corner. A shot which actually went off his hands and onto his head. Look at it move. Oof. Gary Walsh was up to it. Giggs losing out to Tomas. Moya.
Well, actually, United were hoping to put Atletico under pressure in this half, but it's not really working out that way at this moment in time. And quite a lot of corner kicks and mounting a few attacks as well.
Putre. Tony. Looking to play Soler in. Away by Mike Phelan. Ryan McClair. One meaningful, purposeful attack might just lift Manchester United's spirits. Clayton Blackmore trying to trigger it. But again, it wasn't the ball that Ryan Giggs was expecting. And Donato is just able to shepherd it out for a goal kick. And Atletico are just very much in charge at the moment. They won through the first round with 6 goals to spare against the Norwegian part-timers of Fillingham. United, of course, needed extra time to see off Athinaikos, as if they weren't playing enough cup football.
You know, what can United do to change this at this moment in time? I'm not quite sure, because due to injuries, I mean, there's not a great deal of choice on the bench.
And it's showing. The nerve ends are very frayed. Ryan Giggs, placid as they come in football, letting his frustration show there. Parker, first ball launched into Pallister, won it. That'll give them something to think about. Here's Phelan. Robson looking for Webb on the far side of the penalty area. Tony got it away. Paulo Futre. And here they come on the break again. Look, 5 men in attack. Futre looking to go it alone for a moment. Now Soler popping up on the left-hand side. 3 in the box. In towards Schuster. Stepped away from Robson. And he would have done had he not been caught. Free kick, maybe a pace outside of the penalty area. Brian Robson catching Bernd Schuster. It's absolute anguish.
Yeah, it was a lovely piece of skill with Schuster and Brian. Well, no real malice in that tackle, but just caught. But we're in a really dangerous situation. If the last free kick that Donato took's anything to go by.
Well, I fancy that Schuster might like to get his own back here. He is an absolute wizard with free kicks from this range, the blonde German. It's Schuster this time, and it's the goal that Atletico have been threatening. Manchester United knifed in the back by Bernd Schuster.
Well, unfortunately, Clive, he said Schuster was very dangerous in these situations, and well, it was a very well taken free kick indeed. And to be perfectly honest, they've been threatening for the last 10 minutes.
Schuster it was, curling it round the wall and past the left hand of Gary Walsh. And Manchester United now need 4 goals in a little over 20 minutes. 1-1 on the night, 4-1 an aggregate, but now Atletico have the away goal. United have got to win 5-1.
I think it was inevitable there was going to be cracks appearing. The more the game got on, the more anxious United got, and they just had to take chances, try and push players forward. And I've seen with the quality of player that Madrid have got, they started finding a few gaps in the United defence, unfortunately.
Robson with the free kick. Pallister arriving. Punched by Abel. Back in by Phelan. They're all onside. Goalkeeper's down. Donato was playing them on. He was the man who made the clearance. But Abel is down and in trouble. Mark Hughes doesn't think he's in quite as much trouble as he's making out. But he's got a whole posse of character witnesses there as the goalkeeper. The referee can't take any chances with a goalkeeper's injury.
Yes, Robbo knocks this ball, and it looks to me Pallister climbs up him, and he did take a little nasty knock, not off Pallister, but off one of his own defenders.
Well, Abel has been in the wars tonight, but nothing like the wars that Manchester United are now in. And Ron Atkinson watching on. It's a big one now for them, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I must admit this half, Madrid have controlled the game. They broke the game up very well. United haven't been able to get ahead of steam up, which they so badly needed. Playing towards the Stretford Road end, you know, they wanted to get the crowd screaming, they wanted to terrify and get the Atletico defence nervous. They haven't done that. All fairness to the Spaniards, they've knocked the ball out, about very well, and that's the problem here. It's a problem for Abel, who's had an outstanding and very, very brave game for them. Looks as if he's in dead trouble.
Well, there's real concern about Abel. They're calling for a stretcher. We've got to have some sympathy for him, Gordon, but I suppose if Manchester United have any hope now, it would be against a substitute goalkeeper.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think the tie's well beyond United now. As Ron Atkinson rightly said there, the Spaniards have controlled this second half, and United just haven't really been able to get going. It's just a shame for Abel, because he's had an outstanding game for Madrid tonight, and it's sad to see him going under these circumstances, and obviously a lot of his fellow teammates very worried about the situation just now.
The substitute goalkeeper is Diego, who actually had half an hour's European experience in the second leg of the first round against the Norwegians, so he's not exactly green to the situation. He's an ex-under-21 international goalkeeper. But Abel has been such a central figure, particularly in the first half when United were on top, that Atletico will be worried about seeing him go. But it was his own player there, Donato, who thudded into him and winded him. And he's been unable to recover. Just to underline the away goal situation, Manchester United have got to score 4 more, even though the difference between the sides is now only 3 goals. Atletico have that away goal, and away goals come into operation at the end of 90 minutes of the second leg in European football.
Now, this would be a comeback, substitute goalkeeper or not.
A few dying words from the exiting goalkeeper for the incoming goalkeeper. Diego takes over, 22 years of age. Abel disappears, his part having been played in this tie.
Yeah, I think they're demanding that they want the substitute goalkeeper back now to the touchline to check his boots. And his number. A great shame to see Abel going off under these circumstances, because he's played a major role in what looks like Madrid getting through to the next round.
I think he'll cheer up in the morning. Robert Capri has some details about Abel's injury.
Obviously there's concern here just below me, but apparently had a neck operation last year. They feel it's an aggravation of that neck injury. His eyes are open as he goes up the tunnel, but that's all we know at the moment.
It's more than Abel knows. We'll start with a bounce ball. Well, Abel has been a hero for Atletico tonight. What chance is there that his replacement Diego could be a villain? Robson. Vizcaíno has cut out so much in front of his defenders tonight. Mike Phelan. Vizcaíno again. Fouled by Brian McClare. Alex Ferguson did say yesterday that although he was absolutely determined that United would give everything to try and retrieve the tie. He's very mindful of the fact that they have this splendid unbeaten home record down the years, 35 years of European campaigning, and he's keen that that isn't dented. They'll continue to give chase for some time.
Yeah, it'd be nice to finish this game with a victory, but obviously we're asking far too much now for United to score 5 goals. That is beyond them.
Neil Webb. Brian McClare hasn't given it up as yet, but Solathabal safely back to his goalkeeper, who wasn't too safe, was he? That's any indication of things to come. Just under 40,000 inside Old Trafford. It's another bumper payday, but European finance is so important to big clubs like Atletico and Manchester United, and Atletico looking far more likely to make progress at the moment. They're certainly keeping Diego awake in his opening minutes in the game.
That'll be a welcome, nice couple of touches for the substitute goalie.
Stretford End trying to look on the bright side of this night. It's an anthem really which is rather suitable for Manchester United's cause at the moment. 1-1 the score here, 4-1 though on an aggregate, and now you look back on those 2 goals that Atletico poached virtually against the run of play in the last 3 minutes of the first leg, and that clearly was the key to the problems that Manchester United now face. The first leg that was meandering away towards nothing, United looking the more likely side to score at that stage, but 2 lapses, 2 pieces of inspired finishing by Paulo Futre and Manolo gave Manchester United this huge task tonight, which they undertook so manfully in the first half, but they just haven't been able to get to grips with it since the interval. Here's Gary Pallister. Clayton Blackmore. Body check by Tomas. The Terminator, as he is christened by one Atletico supporter that I spoke to last night. He put Paul Ince out of the first leg with a tackle. In towards Pallister. Mark Hughes trying the overhead, didn't really get hold of it. Goalkeeper hesitated. Appeals for handball against Donato as the mix-up continued, but Brian McClare couldn't get in between them.
Clayton knocks his ball, as you said, he's had a fair bit to do since he came on. Big long looping ball into the box, trying to put him under pressure. Mark Hughes tries overhead kick, Donato doesn't want it, the goalkeeper doesn't want it, eventually grabs it.
Donato didn't exactly help him out with that attempted clearance. Hughes challenged so well by Soler. Blackmore hoisted in towards Pallister. Now a chance for Ryan Giggs, but he's offside. Diego made the save, but Giggs had already been flagged.
Well, defensively they haven't been the greatest Atletico, but you've really got to admire a lot of their midfield play and attacking play tonight. One of the highest order.
They are European regulars. Their achievements include 4 major finals. They won this competition way back in 1962, but the 80s and the early 90s have been lean times for them. Only once have they progressed beyond this round of a European tournament in the last 14 seasons, and that's a criminal record for a club with expectations almost as high as United's own. And this will be a prize scalp for them if they can just keep their heads for 15 more minutes. Pallister getting his head to it, on by Webb. Away by Soler. Schuster, Moya. Tomas. Paulo Futre. Futre running at Bruce and then bringing Soler into it. 3 waiting inside the box. It was a wicked bending cross from Soler. It looked as if it was heading behind for a goal kick. Tomas. There's a chance here for Futre. Bruce tried to get in front of him. Still a chance for Soler. Phelan has made it difficult for him, and United escaped with a corner. Futre actually felt that he was fouled by Bruce as he tried to make that cross his own. Soler had the final opportunity.
good attacking play again. I thought Soler was coming on to play a defensive role there when Manolo went off, but he gets into an attacking position, puts a really dangerous cross in there.
Ben Schuster with the corner. Juanito flicked it on. This is Moya. He takes a tumble inside the box. Parker manages to hack it clear. The free kick's gone Manchester United's way. Moya was penalty hunting. Ryan McLean. It's hit and hope now. Solathabal denying Manchester United their hopes. If only they could have got a second goal in that blistering opening 10 minutes. Phelan. Headed by Donato. Bruce. Thomas almost missing out. Clayton Blackmore, but Thomas is a good defender. Couture is a good attacker. Away from Robson. Parker got to him eventually. Looked a clean challenge. Certainly won the ball.
Well, that's been a tremendous tussle between Paul Parker and Futre tonight, and as you say, it does look a bit special, the Spanish forward, but Paul Parker's done a very good job on him tonight.
Couture again. Vizcaíno. Moya. Atletico now so relaxed. They have that 3-goal cushion once more, and they can settle into life at Old Trafford and really enjoy themselves. Bruce with a challenge. Soler. Solathabal. Foul by Hughes. They just can't get at them.
Well, it must be a nice feeling for Atletico now when they know the tie is beyond Manchester United. They try and stroke it around the middle of the park and try and find little openings. No pressure on them at all now.
Schuster. And because they're relaxed and because they're in control, that extra little bit of technique, that fine and sure touch is showing.
Try telling Robert the game's over. He's still going full steam ahead.
Blackburn. Flicked on by Giggs. Hughes just won't quite reach it. Well, it doesn't look as if it's going to be Manchester United's night with 8 minutes remaining, but it still might be Arsenal's night, and we will have highlights of the second leg of their European Champions Cup tie against Benfica from Highbury. Straight after the final whistle here at Old Trafford. It was 1-1 at half-time, 2-2 on aggregate. Liverpool safely and proudly through to the third round of the UEFA Cup, having defeated Auxerre by 3-0 at Anfield tonight. Just 8 minutes to spare when Mark Walters got the winner. What a result that is for Graham Souness and company. But if the blunt truth of life in the Northwest is told, that will make this result all the more difficult for Manchester United fans to stomach. Blackmore. Throwing his Atleticos. Schuster played it against Blackmore. Well, he's been around as Bernd Schuster with Cologne, 8 years at Barcelona, then on to Real Madrid, who showed him the door the summer before last, and Atletico snapped him up, and now he's controlling things for them. And again, he's been an orchestrator for the Spaniards this evening. Brian Robson. Mike Phelan. Gary Pallister. Mike Phelan will take the throw. 6 minutes left on the watch, although there's bound to be some stoppage time for that injury to Abel. His deputy Diego seizing the ball and closing the final doors in Manchester United faces. Gary Walsh out to get there ahead of Couture. Clayton Blackmore. In towards Pallister. Just couldn't quite direct the header in the way that Hughes wanted it. Manchester United have just looked a little bit battle-weary in this second half, Gordon. It's been a popular theme amongst English football managers in the last few weeks, the sheer traffic of football in this country.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. I mean, we just play far too many games, that's the bottom line. Foreign teams can prepare better at European level and international level.
Donato finding Moya. A little bit too long for Coutre and for Donato, who continued his run into the box. Feeling rubbing shoulders with Soler and winning the goal kick. Gabriel Moya, who missed that chance in the first half, a golden opportunity it was for Atletico, and we wondered then whether United would make him pay. Well, we know now that they couldn't. Last 5 minutes. Vizcaíno. Again, Bruce is penalised. It's been such a frustrating second half for Manchester United, trying to get in their tackles, trying to box a few ears and harass Atletico out of their stride. But it's been a very assured and a very sound stride since half-time. Schuster all the way back to Abel. I beg your pardon, Diego. Abel is recovering from the blow that he took on the neck, but his stand-in really hasn't been too troubled. This is Donato. Well, Gordon McQueen, part of your duties this evening are to name a man of the match. Who is your selection?
Well, I'm going for Gary Walsh tonight because I think he's kept United in the game in the second half, probably, and that says something for the quality of the Madrid attacking play, that the United goalkeeper's been probably the best player tonight. Paul Parker's a terrific game in the heart of the defence. And Gary Walsh coming in.
Here's McClare looking for Palliser, who's offside.
He's came in and made some smashing saves tonight, and really it has kept United in the game longer than might have been expected, the way Madrid were playing at times in the second half.
The last 3 years have been very long years for Gary Walsh. He's had 4 operations on an ankle problem which threatened his career for some time, but he's met that challenge as he's met the challenge of keeping goal for one of the country's premier sides, and at 23 he's got a very bright future ahead of him. But Peter Schmeichel has already been told that he will be back in for United's next game, which is the small matter of Manchester City in the First Division. They do have a week and a half to recover, those who are not on international duty. Here's Moya. Neil Webb's there. Pallister. Vizcaíno. One back by Hughes. Ryan Robson. Steve Bruce. Neil Webb. Mark Hughes. Now, can United find something just to win it on the night? Leighton Blackmore. Webb again. Into Giggs. It's as many passes as they put together, I think, in this second half. And Blackmore is unable to continue the link-up. And who should be back there to break it up but Ben Schuster. Vizcaíno. Robson making the challenge. And a difficult week it's been for him emotionally, Brian Robson. Saying a final farewell to a magnificent international career, and now to the Cup Winners' Cup. McClare, though, with a shot. But Diego is down, and Brian McClare, who scored in every round up to the final last year, and he scored in the first round this season. They needed another from him tonight, and they needed it some time ago.
Yeah, I think that just typifies this evening. Nothing really working out at all for United. Brian McClair not getting really any real power behind that shot.
Tremendous endeavour, moving passion about their play in the opening minutes when Mark Hughes here scored that sensational goal. Just 4 minutes, just the send-off United needed. And if they'd added a second at that stage of the game, and they look likely to, then the death throes of this match would have been a very, very different affair.
Well, it's been a courageous performance, but not really quite good enough. But if it's any small consolation to Alex Ferguson and the players, they can concentrate on the league championship that's eluded them for so long now. Although I'm quite sure it won't.
I wouldn't like to walk into the dressing room straight after the final whistle and suggest that. Here's Robson. Webb. On by Hughes. Ryan Giggs. Just couldn't quite turn it into the path of Webb, but it might fall for McClair. But it's all been ifs and buts tonight. Schuster. Moya. Gabriel Moya going on. Now United really don't want to sacrifice their proud home record. Bernd Schuster. Futre's made a good run, but he's offside. Just caught. But the Atletico captain will be able to further his reputation on the big stage of the Cup Winners' Cup in the quarter-finals next March. Brian Robson. Ryan McClair. Giggs running the line, trying to stay onside. Webb into Pallister, looking for Giggs again, but Juanito just managed to direct the ball back to his goalkeeper. It really is a dramatic finish at Highbury in the Champions Cup match between Arsenal and Benfica. I won't let you into the secret of just how dramatic, because we will have those pictures for you just as soon as Alex Ferguson's business has been completed here tonight at Old Trafford. Celebrates his 5th anniversary with the club on Friday, but celebration really won't be the word in his mind. Thomas. Moya. Two minutes of added time played here at Old Trafford. Blackmore's clearance. Vizcaíno. Helped forward towards Futre, but Phelan favourite. McClair. Phelan out of play, and that could be his last contribution of the evening. He's very, very short of match practice, and as a result of that, I don't think that Alex Ferguson wants to risk him any further. He's keen to bring on Lee Martin as his second substitute. And Phelan's courageous night comes to an end. Just 75 minutes of first-team football in the last month prior to tonight, but the need for Englishmen pressed him into service. And Phelan's end is Martin's beginning, but he won't have very long. 3 minutes of stoppage time played. Heatheth Heel, the controversial president of Atletico, said that his team would have to come and play like an invincible armada here tonight and defend like guerrillas. Well, his colourful words have been followed almost to the letter by the men in the red and white stripes. I'm not sure that they will have quite the same affection for him that United have for their president, Sir Matt. But it's Heatheth Heel who will continue his soapbox antics into the quarter-final of this competition. Vizcaíno. Donato, and that's it. It was a bridge too far for Manchester United. Alex Ferguson quite rightly applauds the efforts of his team. Efforts which in the opening minutes of the night seemed as if they may be able to pull off the impossible. No English side has ever come from 3 down from a first leg and lived to tell the tale. Mark Hughes' goal gave Manchester United hope of doing that, but Bernd Schuster provided the postscript to the game with a second-half free kick which ended all doubts. And Manchester United bravely go out of the European Cup Winners' Cup, a competition which no holder has ever successfully defended, and Manchester United won't be able to do that this season either. 1-1 the final.